If you are on a job hunt, either freshly out of school or in between careers, doing a mid career switch, do not feel disheartened if you have submitted more than 100 applications and still haven't heard back from any of them, or you have gone for interviews but have not made it through to the next round. I would like to share personal experience of how I had different part-time work during my schooling days as well as in between jobs, and yet in when I was freshly out of university, I couldn't secure full-time employment for almost a year. Then, after I've started my first job, in the last 15 years or so, I have had changes in different organizations and roles. So let's start with the part-time experience, work experiences that I have. I think people my age might not have gone through so many different kind of work before, but I myself am interested in how different industries operate. And one of my first few roles is in accounts department as a temp staff. I'm not someone who's very good at math or working with numbers, handling large data. I wanted to challenge myself as I have come to realize the importance of numbers and math in everyday life and being comfortable with handling it. Then this role also allowed me to eliminate or realize that I do not enjoy sitting in a desk bound 9 to 5 office job all the time. In addition, I also had tried out roles in F&B department where I get to interact with people from all walks of life who could be from students to retirees to housewives, and not just local citizens but also our neighbors from countries around us. Um, it also teaches me to be more resilient because and humbling, because you have to clean up after the patrons or the customers, and you have to work most of the time in a hot environment that is wet, slippery, dirty. Then I had some work stint overseas for a few months. Uh, in the hospitality sector, I have even cleaned toilets of the hostel that I was working front desk in, because sometimes you have to be flexible and take on different tasks. Um, Through this job experience in the hospitality sector, I also learned that sometimes you are given more responsibilities because the management trusts you to do a good job in addition to what you already have. Then I was also self-employed for a while as a freelance tutor while I was schooling in university, studying in university. And tutoring primary school and secondary school students, I realized sometimes these youths, they need more than academic guidance. They might need some life advice that their family members might not be able to provide them, or they might have to a third party to share with them some blind spots that they might not understand at that age. I also counted cars by the roadside before. I ever sat beside the highway in the rain, holding an umbrella, sitting in between bushes and grass, tapping on the counter to track how many vehicles pass by. So I've worked in all sorts of indoor and outdoor environments. While in university, I was in the inline skating CCA in order to improve my skills, because somehow I just couldn't stop, especially when rolling down the slope. No matter how many schoolmates teaches us all sorts of techniques, I just wasn't able to do it. So As an inline skating instructor, I taught many young children how to fall, how to stand up, how to balance, and how to move without injuring themselves. Then, right after graduation, before securing full-time employment, I also worked for a short period for the Singapore Arts Festival, where we explain the exhibits to visitors. Also in indoor and outdoor environment. Indoors could be museums, could be behind the theater, working backstage, and that was also when I was stepped into a club for the first time. Not there to dance or to drink, but to work. Then during the COVID-19 pandemic, I also worked in the frontline retail. Uh, at the grocery stores, it was very crowded. Everyone was having lockdown, so being able to go to the supermarket is one of the rare chance where they can step out of the house. Some of them might not be in a good mood because the queues are very long. We have to work very fast. We have to take very few toilet breaks, and during that period, we also have to take temperature before people step into the store. You will find all sorts of reasons why people don't want their temperature to be taken. So it's quite eye-opening. Then for one of my interviews for a job role, I have to shadow a salesperson at the job. He went to Geylang Serai to do outreach and promote his company's products. Uh, on the way back, it started to rain. So I asked him, does this kind of bad weather affect your work negatively? He actually asked me, do you know what RAINS stands for? RAINS. It stands for right attitude in negative situations. So in times like bad weather, where people are kind of trapped under the shelter or they prefer walking under the shelter, they have less space to run away from him. If not, usually people would turn away promoters like that. So it made it easier for him to talk to them instead. And what he taught me left a very deep impression. So through all these different roles, I realized that, for example, F&B role is very humbling. It made me appreciate and respect service workers. All jobs have their value. No matter what you do, you contribute to the society. Um, and after that, despite having all these work experiences, why I was unable to secure full-time role, even applying to I think more than 50 organizations. One of the reasons is besides the resume keywords might not meet what they want, like what I mentioned in one of the videos. Uh, Another reason could be during interview, I wasn't able to reflect what I've learned from this part-time work and make the connection to the job that I'm applying for. So now in school, when your teacher asks you to do reflection after visiting a learning journey or some activity, it is a good practice to make sense of our experiences so that you can articulate it clearly or elaborate more on it during the times of need. Unless you're someone who is able to wing it, then no issue. But some of us, we blank out during interview or we get nervous and we don't know what to say. So it is good to practice and rehearse before the interview. And also, personal grooming is important. For example, in the sales job, I wore a collared shirt, but the design was a bit ruffled. So the boss actually asked me, why do you wear such a crumpled shirt for interview? Then lastly, in your job application or your job hunt, you have to be able to share some suggestions and ideas for the company uh, in relation to the role that you're applying for. So if you have prior work experience, usually you will be able to suggest more practical ideas. Sometimes what you have in mind might sound nice in theory, but those who have done the role before, they know that it is difficult to implement. So if you have prior work experience, it is easier for you to think of realistic solutions. And after I secured my first job, it was easier to change jobs after that because you have a previous organization who has seen the way you work and they are able to speak nice of you if you have performed well in the job role. And what you have done is also a testament to how you can contribute in the next job role. So there could be many reasons why your current job hunt might prove futile, but don't give up. Try to think back on what you can improve on further.